Well, YouTube, we're
Hmm.
here. We're here. Raise Voices is in the building, all buildings at all time. Yep, that's how we show up. So why is Azali wearing a blue ray shades? Let me tell y'all something. I'm a strong Black woman, but every now and then my kids decide to run without my permission.
Mm.
And today is one of those deep topics I had to shade up. I'm not throwing no shades. Get it right. Get it right. Get it right with the news blast y'all be doing. I'm a shade up in case a tear runs cheeks without my permission. You
Mm.
can't see it. And I have time to do a little wipe.
You just push
That's
them up
why I'm
like.
here like this. Yeah, we're just gonna. You ain't seeing nothing. Ain't nothing happening here but a conversation.
Hundred
Hey,
percent.
people, listen, we got to do that sometimes. You got to come in the room out of the box. We are here. We're excited to be here. We have great energy. We have Miss Josayne. She's back. Love Quest Foundation is again
Yes.
rapping with us here on Raise Voices. And we
Yes.
are excited that she found time in her schedule to come and say, what's up, people?
Hmm.
Here we are. I'm going to just immediately turn it over to her to say who she is, what she does, and why she does it. So let me tell y'all, turn the volume up and listen. Miss
Hmm.
Josayne, what you got to say to Raise Voices live on YouTube today?
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the invite to raise voices again. It's always a great time. The Love Quest Foundation was founded based on my personal experience in college, going through domestic violence as a college sophomore going into junior year. Got pregnant. I was a student athlete. My daughter's father was a student athlete and said he wanted to marry me, have a family, but got pregnant prematurely before all those goals and dreams were able to happen. So he was a walk on the basketball team, and he thought I was trying to trap him. Like he was supposed to go to the league, but that wasn't realistic. So he started getting physical and tried to beat the baby out of me. So
Mm.
I moved off campus for myself, the safety of myself and my growing daughter inside of me, and created what was formerly known as Once for All Inc. In 2004 as an independent study for my senior year class. So then from there, finished my studies, didn't graduate, but finished my studies to the best of my ability. Went back home for a little bit, and then I moved to Boston with my sisters. They told me, when you're done with school, come live up here with us. So one of my sisters went to Northeastern University, and one went to Berklee College of Music. So we lived right off of Huntington Avenue all together, and started working at a bank, and met my husband there. He was a customer, and then he was in military, so I was a military spouse. And we moved a couple times from Boston to California, and back to New York. So and the long and short of it was my personal experience that fueled the love, which is now known as the Love Quest Foundation, which was started in 2004 and rebranded in 2017.
Wow. It sounds reaction to that because we just learned a couple of new things. I told y'all we doing this thing organically on the air. Y'all don't believe, but one day there will be belief. Miss Sounds
Yes.
reaction to
No,
that.
that was a nice extra something. We didn't hear that the first. Well, we heard a lot of it, but we okay. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about um I'm interested in the military spouse part of your life, right? And
Yes,
so
ma'am.
let's talk a little bit about that and um maybe show the progression from when you first started out in a as a young woman really trying to grow this baby inside of you, looking for the stability for that baby, and then finding a relationship that is way more stable now. So, can you talk to us
Yeah.
about that journey?
Sure. So it was definitely an oxymoron from each relationship. So when I got pregnant in college, I hung out with a lot of athletes. There's a lot of parties, a lot of things going on. They were like, "Oh, just have an abortion." All the girls are doing it. grew up in church, and I knew that wasn't an option for me. So I went to health services a month after, we had intercourse, and I didn't get my menstrual cycle. And then I took the test, and they told me I was pregnant. So they said you have three options: adoption, abortion, or to keep it. So then I went and shared the news with my daughter's father, and I just didn't feel comfortable. Like, I wrestled with it. I know I wasn't supposed to be having premarital sex and what we call fornication in our faith, but I had to take responsibility for my actions. So I did reach out to some mentors growing up in the church who I knew were single mothers who did it and they succeeded and excelled in life. So I reached out to them before I even reached out to my parents, just to get their advice. And then, they encouraged me. I shared stuff with my friends and family. They told the whole church before my parents knew. So I was forced to tell my parents that I was pregnant. And then I was going through domestic violence at the same time. So I was isolated, feeling guilty, all these things, all these weights. And I just had to, find the time for myself just to just breathe and just to live. So yeah, so when I went to Boston with my sisters, I think I was ready. Like, when they said when a man finds a wife, so you have to be ready and he has to be looking. So he tells his version of it and he says that's his version, but he was praying for a wife. He looked up, he found me, he came into the bank. I minored in Spanish, so he's of Hispanic, Afro Latino Hispanic. And I wrote him a note in Spanish on his receipt. So I was like, when he comes back to this bank, I'm gonna put the little thing in the transaction, and he's gonna read this note and put my number on it.
Oh, you gonna slip it in the envelope?
Your little receipt with some stuff.
Somebody had to do it, and she said, "Hey."
She made a deposit. Okay.
Yes.
It's a banking place. You can make a deposit.
So he read the receipt. He eventually gave me a call. And we took it from there. We dated for a year before I met his family. He was tired of bringing girls home that he wasn't going to marry. So he told himself that he wasn't going to bring anybody else home until he knew he was going to marry them. So met his mom. She met me at the door. She's a woman of faith. She was like, "You're the one." Like, I just opened the door just to say hi for dinner, our first introductory dinner. And it just went from there. We had our highs and lows too, because I had, trauma and healing to do. But I believe, and then after we got married, I found out my name meant the wife of Napoleon, which is his name, because my name is French for Josephine, which was the wife of Napoleon. And I didn't know that till after we got married. So there's a lot of specifics, and it's meant to be. Like, my name is Josayne, meant to be on the socials. So there's a lot of things that I know for sure are meant to be. Some things that some things I chose and I veered off, but God always had a way to restore what was taken from me initially.
Wow. Okay, so this, y'all don't understand. Like, we know Josayne and we know the work she's doing, but this is new data. Okay. This is why we are now doing lives and so hyper about it. Right. There is so much she just told us that I can't type or write or touch nothing for all the information. So hold up, wait a minute. First of all, the meaning of the name. I keep telling you guys out there, be careful what you name or call those that belong to you, biological or not. She just proved my point, okay? Just put a heart somewhere. Something, do something to let me know that you now understand what I was saying to you guys. We have to be careful because she found out part of her identity as she was going through the healing process. Her identity already had healing in there. She didn't even know till she got with the new boo-boo that became the husband. And then God was like, "Oh, let me reveal this to you. Not only were you tailor-made for him, but you've been had your healing the whole time in the name that you were given." I'm done. I'm done. Miss Sound, get the people. I'm just going. I'm going to go over it. I'm going to turn over to this corner. I'm going to breathe because
No, this is good. It sounds like it was just a revelation of who you've always been. Had the things in life had kind of covered that up in terms of you digging deeper to find that, but you walked right into it at a certain point. And so I just want to know, when it comes to your foundation, how does that fit in when it comes to walking into who you've always been, especially with people that are walking through some really rough relationship struggles? How do you get that message across in your foundation?
Sure. So when I was in college, my major was English creative writing, and I minored in Spanish and criminal justice. So I was always a person that just wrote authentically about who I was, the things that I was experiencing, the things that I was socially engaged and just justice impacted about. So writing the vision and making it plain, like I literally want to make sure when youth are leaving their households, whether they're going to college, a trade, or just going on their own, that they're equipped and know what healthy relationships are about and what to expect in a relationship and out of the person, their spouse, their partner, whoever they're dating, what to not tolerate, and just to know their worth. So, we're journaling, we're creating songs, we create public service announcements, we make videos, to go with the messaging. We've also done podcasting. They've been talking about bullying and peer pressure and things that they're facing. And they're very honest and transparent. This is recorded to share with the public about these things. So I let them know. Also, there's some triggers, and when they say some things or do says look, this is why we do what we do, because we don't want XYZ to be your story. Like, you telling them who they are, who they're, and not who they're not, telling them that this is how people perceive them, but they don't have to be perceived that way. And then giving them the arts and culture experience, giving them trips to LA, to Essence Festival, so they can see arts and culture and advocacy all together in one. So when someone is saying, oh, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, they're like, oh no, I've been to LA, I've been to New Orleans, I've been places, I've seen it, I've seen people who look like me doing it, see people who have experienced things that are still doing it. So I want them to a lot of them are isolated. They don't leave their city. They don't leave their town. And I know the dangers of not doing that sometimes. Like, some people are going to be homegrown and that's what they want to do. But some people don't even know what the options are. So presenting people with options so they can make an informed decision and, just take the good and the bad from somebody else so they don't have to experience themselves.
I love that you said triggers and now she said options. Okay, I'm going to behave myself. Self-control. Because both of those words are very exciting for me. The triggers, going back to husband. Okay, we made it through the year and we're committed. We're going to do this thing. But you said I still had traumas and healing that had to happen. I know this guy is the right one. I know he's different. Okay, I know it's a better situation. I know I can grow here and I'm safe here. I want to find out from you if there was one or two trigger situation that took the longest to kind of manage, because it's relationship. Yeah, it's better. Yes, I am better. Yes, I've grown. Yes, I'm warrior. I'm all of these things, but still some things can look familiar that may not actually be. But if my trigger is pushed, I may not even want to investigate if that is familiar or not. I might be ready to just out. Okay, you go to bed. Backpack underneath the bed. Car started. It's possible. I'm
Snacks on the road. That's crazy.
So, was there one or two triggers that you felt like it took work? Like, there's one or two things, kind of like if that happened in this relationship, it brought me back to this place, and so I had to keep like working on these one or two triggers to really make sure they don't control me.
Yes. So before I answer that, I read a book called The Emotional Prisoner by Jose Villegas III. And in that book, I read it in one day, which was, I do not recommend that to anyone. Because I'm not an emotional person outwardly. I'm more like, a Lifetime movie might get me with the tears. But like other stuff in life, I'm just like, this is my face. Like, it doesn't really get to me. So that book was like, everything was pouring out of me. It said that you're stuck at the age emotionally where you had trauma. So that really like stood out to me. So when we were in premarital counseling, the elders were like, oh, y'all not gonna make it. like the stuff that we weren't agreeing on. So the triggers were even before we got married. So one of them was my nonprofit, we talk about teen dating, domestic violence, intimate partner, domestic violence, and sexual assault. So all of those things happened to me. So alcohol taste on my mouth would bring me back to traumatic experiences. So from a Hispanic man from a Hispanic culture, you're not going to tell him he can't drink. And I was like, I'm not comfortable with you drinking. I don't like the taste. I don't like the smell. It triggers me. And he's like, well, I'm not going to stop because this is my culture. This is who I am. So that was one of the things in premarital counseling that it never got settled. It was just like, he ain't gonna do it and I don't want you to. And I didn't drink. I didn't drink. I'm like more of a social drinker now. Like I'm more in the middle. But before I was just really an advocate. Like I don't want none of that. I don't want the smell. I don't want it around me. I just can't. And then I would go from 0 to 100 if I felt disrespected. So disrespected in terms of like if it's another female, like boundaries, talking crazy, just like if I felt like he didn't protect me. If I say so and so, this girl said this to me because she knows I'm your fiance, and he wouldn't see it that way. And I'll be like, okay, I would give him his ring back all the time. I was like, here your ring. I don't want to do this. I don't have time for this. So now I'm more like, girl, bye.
Yes.
So those were the main two things that were like triggers for me, like not feeling protected, and then the alcohol, what it would do to me and where it would send me. But now, like 18 years later, it's more of like, I'm like, I remember we used to do that,
Right.
I like those too, because for me it's smoking. My ex-husband smoked for 40 years. He started when he was 13.
Yeah.
And they did that in their family. So that's just what that was. However, so having to walk that out and those two triggers that you talked about, when you now have a teen that comes to you with either similar triggers or their own one or two, like how do you now, you're today Josayne, got the knowledge, I've walked it out, I've read what I need to read, I still keep myself in the know. Like how do you tell them to handle their 0 to 100? Because see, you done been there, but now you're on the other side. But some people just arriving there and they trigger is still like, yeah, I'm finna get hot under my collar if this and this goes down. How do you counsel that or advise to not go 0 to 100 on everything before you really know if you should?
Yes, I used to be in network marketing, and they would say facts tell, but stories sell. So sharing my personal experience and the outcomes that I've done, like we have case managers, we have people that can help, and some of the youth gravitate to different leaderships and instructors, because we all have our different approach and we all have our different lived experience. But overall, like if I see like girls and boys getting too physical, I'm like, this is a nonviolent program. Please don't put your hands on people. I know what horse playing is, but it can get serious real quick. I used to be an athlete, tomboy, all that, but just please don't do that in my presence. Please don't do that at all, period. So there's just different things I can just hit it right in the nut on the head right there in the moment. Some things are just like, I might need to pull them to the side, maybe have to, talk to a parent about if I'm seeing a little bit more things. But I just tell them my story, my experience. I'm like, I don't want that for you. This is what you can do. These are the things that you can be, and just that's not the right direction or response, and I need some help for that.
Sounds. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm interested in how art provides choice, and what I mean by that is choices. How does it correlate to the choices they can make in their lives in hard situations, with in maybe sometimes tumultuous relationships or really hard family lives? How does art let them know they have choice?
Yeah, so there's a lady named Mary J. Blige.
Okay. Yeah,
you might have heard her.
Yes, Queen Mary. Okay.
I mean, you listen to Mary, you're just like,
Queen
okay.
Mary.
Yes, Queen Mary, MJB, all of it. I mean, you listen to her, you be like, I hear life, I hear struggle, you hear the progression of her life.
Yeah.
So just coping sometimes I play a song 100 times so I can just get it together. So, creating those anthems, creating that escape for someone when they're going through it is literally what we're doing. We're giving awareness, but we're also trying to make anthems. So it's like, you can repeat this self, you can repeat this, and it's going to be empowering to you, not destructive or making you feel worse than you already were. So I think the creative side of it and just showing that there's a pathway to additional income or a career full time is how a lot of art in terms of elections and different things, like people are very outspoken when they really care about the things that they're talking about. So I really care about the things I'm talking about. I care about the outcomes and the experiences. So I think that's just one of the major ways that art gives that expression and the options.
As a follow-up to that, I'm interested in the ways you guide them in taking care of their art, right? And how taking care of their art is also taking care of themselves. Can you show us how the thread between the two in your organization?
Sure. So a lot of times when you're like writing a song or you're writing, it's called a treatment or a storyboard. When you're creating the visuals for what you're actually going to record in an audiovisual space. So we did a campaign on bullying, and they're like, "Oh, could we take that down? We don't like how it was." And I was like, "This is what y'all created, and this is what y'all put out there. If y'all wasn't doing 100%, then y'all shouldn't have recorded it and have us do all this editing and putting it out there." I said, "So the next campaign that you do, put your heart into it, put your all into it, put what you really want to see as a result of your work, and then you'll be gratified by that. But when you don't, when you're doing halfway work and you're just like, oh, this it is what it is what it is. Results are going to be seen by the public."
Oh, I like that. That's like dealing with reality that you don't always get that second chance to clean it up or to correct it. Like you already put that out there. So you know what? You're going to have to keep an eye on it and see what it is and then figure out your next step, because right now it's already out there. You ain't got no next step yet. So I like that, because I hope that what people are understanding from that is that it encourages actual work, like earned work, right? Like you said, that's what you put out there, right? You should have been fully on board in it, doing the thing for real. So I like that, because as you know, the news is always filled with all of the bad stuff people said or did. And once it's out there, people have one or two things. You're either going to let the dust settle and do better the next time, or some people like, yo, I can't live with what's out there. And we need more people that's just saying, let me let the dust settle and figure out the next time when I get an opportunity what I'm going to do for real. So I definitely love that. Talk to me about how you handle emotional immaturity that comes out of trauma, because most people out there dating, regardless of their age, they think they're ready. So sometimes they don't realize they're in a bad situation, because for them, I'm ready anyway. I'm ready for what comes my way. I'm going to do this thing. And then next thing, as they're going through and things really start going sour, they realize, like, I think I still got some growing up to do, but I don't even know how to do that because I thought I was ready. Like, how do you deal with that emotional immaturity? Do you have to deal with it? Do you have to have conversations about that for people to understand that some of the choices why you end up in these relationships is because you still had to grow up a little bit, or that other person had to grow up a little bit?
Yeah, so when I'm talking about relationships with the youth, healthy relationships, and what to the red flags and warning signs, I'm like, y'all need to wait till high school for these kind of things. I was like, y'all, yeah, people have high school sweethearts. Yeah, you might think you're cute, but like that full-time energy, slow down. Slow down. I was like, because once you start adulting, you can't reverse time. Enjoy your youth. Enjoy becoming the full version of you before you trying to get connected with someone else. It's just take your time. Like my message is to take your time. And yeah, like we've had our high school sweethearts. We had, yes, and it gives us a foundation to build upon. But the way post-COVID, pre-COVID, people's isolation and how you communicate. People are texting. You're gonna sit there texting each other and not look up in your face and talk. So it's just like we're still trying to communicate properly.
Yeah.
People
How
are
is that
abbreviating.
Yeah. How is that received? Because there's going to be a perception that in certain communities that there's always going to be pushback for you to bring that message of saying slow down. Slow down for what?
I mean, I said I got pregnant at a young age. Y'all ready to be a parent?
Ooh.
Y'all want to push a stroller right now, or y'all want to
Right.
enjoy life and go places and not worry about having a babysitter or
So
STD?
a
real.
little devil's advocate is, but Josayne, I got reels to post. Okay, it's a cute little scissor song called Snooze. I wanna be, me and my boo gonna be booed up. I'm putting on my story. It's gonna be cute. Yeah, I probably ain't ready for a baby or nothing, but I just want to post a little
Listen, they got props to post the reels, okay? They got AI, they got green screen, so many options, and real about something positive, okay?
Listen,
right.
she's not playing with the messaging. She's like, if you want to come have a real conversation, do real work, and get out of this real crazy situation, we're going to have to really talk. Right. There's no playtime here. Interesting. I want to know your experience. How is it dealing with the parents? Because let me tell you, it would be very uncomfortable for me if one of my children ended up in the relationships that we're talking about, especially if I don't have influence with them. I'm kind of handing them over to you, even though it's not my say so, because, some of them are old enough to come to the program themselves. But it's such an uncomfortable situation. So how do you dialogue with me, the parent, that we're supposed to be doing this with a partnership together to make sure so-and-so has a chance to get out of this situation, or at least recognize that this situation is not good? Like, how do you talk to the parents? Because that's got to be another kind of a view.
So a lot of what we're doing is prevention and awareness. So we're located in the Family Services Building, and there is a victim advocate office for people that do go through it. So you never know what people are going through. So we talk about everything so we can address everything. Everybody is not going to confide and say, this is what I'm going through, but planting the seeds and showing that there's options. A couple of us in the staff have the lived experience of these situations, and some don't, but they have other strengths that they bring to the table. So definitely we find out, we have a case manager on staff that can get a little bit deeper, but I'm setting the foundation of, this is the prevention, this is the awareness, this is what happened, this is how you can get out, these are all the tips. We have text resources for the youth on our resource page. They can text with a counselor. We give them therapy cards that are culturally relevant. So there's a lot of different tools and things. So I'm talking to everybody as if whatever fill in the blank is.
Yeah. Go ahead, Miss Sounds.
Can you talk more about the culturally relevant therapy cards and how that works?
Yeah, so a lot of our youth are people of color, and in our experience, mental health therapy is not a priority, or it's something that's like, oh, we don't do that. I mean, this generation maybe is a little bit more open to it, but my generation and my parents are just like, oh, we're gonna pray, So I introduced that very early because I didn't go to therapy till I was 40, and I'm just like, oh no, I probably should have went when I was single digits, but that wasn't an option for me. So I do want to introduce it to them, and it's called My Therapy Cards. It's by a psychologist of color, female. She created them. It's like a Uno deck that talks about the emotional wheel, talks about triggers, it talks about different things. So we give them out to the youth in the program and let them just have it under. If they never go to a therapist, they have this resource just as a start to their journey of learning more about mental health awareness.
Yeah. What's the number one thing that you see for those who, either people in your organization is working with or you directly? What's sending them there? Is it the person I'm dating is too physical? Is it the person is too verbal? Is there one that bubbles up to the top? Is it that he or she don't let me go nowhere without them being there? Like, is there a number one or two thing that you see that seems to just is a revolving door? Like, this thing is just a constant, regardless of who's coming here to deal with me,
I think it's more word of mouth from the youth. So some of the youth have come for the last 3 seasons of our workshops, our summer workshop series, and they enjoy. If your friends like it, you like, come learn more about this. Also, some of our trips are things that bring people, but I'm not taking everybody on a trip out of state. Like, I have to know you. I gotta know the parents. Like, how I just have to be able to trust that when I take you somewhere, you're listening. So if you're not listening in the program locally,
yeah,
we're not getting on a plane.
You're not
So
gonna be listening in Essence Fest.
Yeah. And also, depending on their aspirations. So if somebody is into music and entertainment, they would be more on the priority list, but also showing, improving, and being consistent. So there's a lot of different draws, for the program. This year we were blessed with a contract to pay the youth to work there for us as they came for the program.
Nice.
So there's it's different things that draw people, but I send a welcome email to the parents. I send the links of our campaigns. The brochure has all the information about who we are, what we do. So they're aware when their youth is there, what they're learning about and what they're working on.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice. So we heard a little birdie told us, I don't know, before we press record and stuff, that there's some latest developments in Love Quest Foundation. I heard something, some conversations was had and, in capital places and stuff. Tell us a little bit more about the new developments happening.
The capital. So talk to us. What you been doing? What they talking about? What they saying?
What is popping?
So a little over a month ago, I want to say a month or two, I received the Presidential Volunteer Service Award. So the Presidential Volunteer Service Award is a collection of all your volunteer hours for your whole life. And you submit that, and the different organizations that I'm on, like 6 boards. So 6 times when I was a teenager to now. It was over 20,000 hours of volunteer service to the different communities and organizations that I'm a part of. So there was a celebration during the AmeriCorps graduation in DC that I was recognized for that. And while I was down there, I went to see one of our elected officials. I reached out to a couple, but one got back to me. So Pat Ryan is our New York 18 representative. He has an office in DC as well as New York. I went to the office and he gave me a congressional record for that volunteer award. So we were down there, we were chatting. He's like, "Oh, come with me to the vote." We went to the vote. They were doing like their final vote before recess. I went back to the office. He's like, "Oh, this folder's for you." And then he opened it and he read it and he was just like, basically my volunteer service, my current role in the county, and the different things I've done over the years. And they put it in the congressional archives. And he gave me a copy of that and it was very unexpected. I was just going to say hi because I was in town. And then I got that. Yeah.
That y'all got to go and say hi to people.
Right.
No,
just get a little butter roll and just go sit down and have a little coffee. And then you get a little folder to talk about congressional. What?
I'm just trying to say, y'all better go say hi to people when you're out of town. Because Jesus got a gift for you.
Come on,
congratulations, Queen.
Congratulations.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you.
Come on.
They're saying hi to the people. What? And picking up stuff on the way.
What do you do?
That's a priceless gift she receives.
How does that make you feel? How does it I asked that because your story, your pain has propelled you into this state of being more than a conqueror. You're seeing the ways in which you're just triumphing over the past, right? But what does that make you feel like when you just see what has happened?
Let's see if I could be honest.
Yes, you
I am
can.
really,
Yeah.
I am really a behind the scenes person. So like that kind of stuff, I'm just like, but sometimes, so like when Me Too came out, and I love the founder, I love the message, and I was like, oh, that happened after I started my organization, and I was like, oh, and I just saw the trajectory of how that movement was going, and I was just like, well, what am I doing, and what am I not doing to? Because I'm not. It's not about the recognition; it's about the impact, and I'm just like, well, how can I reach more people? With this message, because it's generational, it's cyclical. There's a lot of things that shouldn't be happening to the youth, to people in general. And I was just, and it's just like, how do I do it? So I just put my head down and just work. But sometimes it's nice, as Kendrick says, pop out show sometimes. But it's humbling, and I'm grateful for it. Hopefully it gives more opportunities for our youth. My thing is always, when something happens, to open more doors for the people that I'm working with, for, and on behalf of. So if that brings resources, if that brings, more opportunities, then I welcome it.
Yeah. And people, just to tell you guys, Josayne just happened to mention this to us, and we were going to make it our job. Yes, we were, to bring it up, because she didn't. This is, if you ever get an opportunity to meet her, do business with Love Quest Foundation, she will not mention these things. She will be talking to you about something, and then it just happened to mention, and then you got to pull out and say, wait, do you know what you have accomplished? And for her, it's because it's not just her who's accomplishing this. She has a team, she's got support, she's got people. So that's why she doesn't want to take the recognition. Why am I bringing this up? Because what we have said constantly on Raised Voices is that this is about the unsung heroes of our community. That's why she's here. She's going to do what she's going to do. She's going to do that work, and she's going to keep impacting the community. But what we wanted to do was to bring light and conversation and recognition to those who, like she said, their heads down, but they changing the world I live in. Because see the work that she's doing there to save the teens. I ain't doing that work, but I'm sure glad somebody doing it. So thank you. You know what I mean? That's why we here having these conversations, to say there's not only bad happening, there's a lot of good happening. And we want to bring that highlight and say, let me tell you something. Somebody working on your behalf to make sure your teen, if they have access to this program, they got a chance. That's why I'm highlighting it, because it is exactly what we wanted to set out to do. We wanted to do personal development and talk to the unsung heroes to find out, how you doing? How you doing it? What are you doing? What help do you need? How are you making the change? Can I partner with you? That's what this is about. It's what Raised Voices is about. So yeah, so we would have forced her probably with a little violence if she had not said something. So, but we salute you for that. I have two more questions, and then I'll let Miss Sounds lead us out. I want to get back to the hubby thing. Yes, I do. Black love. Okay. Personal development, Black love. It can work. Give it a try. So now you're doing all of this, and I can only imagine that this also takes time away from the family. You've changed, new woman, still empowered from the past, not necessarily by the past. But now I got family. I've got the right husband. We're doing this, but I still have to do the work that's birthed out of the trauma. How do you balance, though? Like, I'm in the right one now, but doing the work for those who might just need to know how to investigate if they're in the right one or not. How do we balance that?
Yes, I'm still working on self-care. The only thing the best way I can sum it up for me is vacation is my love language. That's just what it is. Like, I have to go on vacation.
It's in the book. It was in small print. It was a sixth love language. It's in the book over there.
So I definitely need to travel. I need to, see new spaces or go to places that where like-minded people are, to continue to build and expand. I also do a lot of things after my son goes to sleep. So I have a 6-year-old and a 22-year-old. So once he goes to bed, then I can like regroup back into like checking on emails, working on grants and different things like that. And and my body tells me when to shut down. Sometimes I overdo it. I'm tired. But then I'd be like, okay, I have to balance. So a lot of the boards I'm on, I'm trying to like scale back and just do one or two instead of the six. And yeah, and he's very supportive, and he has his organization as well, and on top of his full time service member duties. So we're just working on, and just it's what we didn't have in our early relationship was working together to build in these areas, and now he's like, oh, you have to build with me. So that progression is also helpful. So many hands make light work. So the more, and I have contractors and people who can help me do other things, so I can just focus on more administrative things
Yeah,
to find that balance.
options.
But yeah, and my family comes with me on my trips too. Like, so we take the youth, they're part of the chaperones.
Oh,
My sister-in-law comes, she helps watch the baby, or my mom. So people are helping, and his family is people that are trusted and safe. So my son is like, where we going next? So
he's
he's
like,
already
he said, vacation is my love language to mommy. I just don't pay. You pay. Okay. I love that. Last question for me, and so we didn't touch upon it, but I'm gonna be careful here. Spiritual belief lend to the work you do. So we talked about trauma. We talked about what you physically, emotionally, mentally, I went through this thing. But now, Josayne, today, is there something that spiritually grounds you to continue to full up to keep doing the work? Because time changes, and I don't believe time ever gets easier. I think the more options and the more things we're exposed to, it can get harder because there's that many more things you have to fight against or educate about. Is there a spiritual grounding for Josayne that allows her to be able to continue to fill up and go forward to help more people?
definitely. So speaking as Josayne, the individual,
The
um,
individual, yes.
definitely my faith and my relationship with God I would I would have lost my mind a long time ago. If it had not been for me the way I was raised, the foundation that my parents gave me in terms of personal relationship and just knowing the word for myself, and that also helped me silence some of the noise that I was hearing. Just knowing the word for yourself and applying it to your situation. I journal every day as a writer, and I just have that personal time in the morning just before I get started for the day. And I have my house of worship. I have my communities. I have three sisters, and I forgot to mention that my husband has four sisters. So, and he's the only boy, so we have a lot of a lot of sistering going on.
Girls rule the world. We're not gonna play. Sorry, this is
My
not a
mom's
Beyonce program.
yeah, my mom's sister had four boys. My mom had four girls. And then he has four sisters. So you have a village. I have people that childhood friends that I consider family, sisters, and just people I can relate to and just reach out to when I need it. But yes, I would definitely say the faith is. When I went to therapy at 40, I went to a Christian therapist, and she said 90% of the work has already been done because of your faith. So I didn't have to have a drawn out years of therapy with her. It was kind of short, just to identify some resources and things like that to continue.
And so that you guys know, why do I ask that? I don't ask that to bring a religious aspect. When we started the conversation, Josayne said that she shared the news with some friends and some people in the church that jumped the gun and spoke to her parents, and therefore she had to do a full confession of what was. I wanted you guys to know that she's no longer there in what transpired. She still has her faith. And it's still something that's not only grounding her and filling her up, but propelling her forward. And that's why I asked the question, so that we can just have clarity. Even though I can still say whatever I want to say on here. Okay.
But also church hurt is a real thing. So some people can't recover from that. I know someone personally walked in late. Somebody in my family walked in late to a service, and the pastor called him out. Never went back ever in his life. but the prayers of the wife help restore that, in the last days. So what we say to people, how we treat people is very, because everybody's not built the same. So we have to be very
Yes.
mindful of how we talk to people, how we treat people. You have to meet people where they are. Sometimes people are late for regardless a lot of reasons. I got a 6-year-old, and I'd be like, let's go, but just being mindful of how fragile people are. Life is life, and for everybody, and the littlest thing could set someone off. It can turn someone away. So just knowing, how we speak to people, how we address people, especially in front of an audience of people, can definitely have long lasting effects and consequences.
Yeah. Oh, what a amazing conversation. We learned so many new things about you, and man, you're even better. Like, you're just even more shining, and just like, oh my gosh, you're just sparkling and everything like that. So I'm happy to really hear more about your life. I have one last kind of grounding something I want you to reflect on, or kind of do this live with us, which is, I just want you to get in your head the younger you, that the younger Josayne, for a minute, kind of see her. And I want to know what you would say to her, given your life right now and where you are. What would you tell her about the future, given who you are right now? So let's talk to her for a second.
Did we just get personal and raise voices? Yes, we did. Pull your car over so you're safe. Okay. I got my shades ready because I don't know. Okay, go ahead, just say it. I'm gonna trust you because I feel a little welling up going on.
Well, I first want to preface it by saying that no one is perfect until that day. So I'm daily working on myself. I might smile a lot, I might laugh a lot because I like to do that. I'm very social. I like to build and be in community. But I've gone through a lot of things that are very serious. And I don't sometimes when I sit with myself, I'm like, oh, I don't like this silence. I'm like, oh, I need people. I need something. Like, I went to the beach and I was by myself. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this for 8 hours. I think I could do this for like 30 minutes. So I know there's more work, and I know there's more growth and things to do. Me as an individual, as a friend, as a spouse, as a parent, I'm always learning better ways to approach different things. Because I know I didn't like certain things when I was at the age my daughter is right now, and so yeah, I'm working on me. It's a daily thing. Talking to my younger self, I would say this version of me almost didn't make it for a lot of reasons. Sometimes the small voices is just like, do you want to be here on earth anymore? Fighting against that is revealing things too much, going to be too much for your family, or it's for your your immediate family or your spouse. But for you to get the deliverance that you need, you have to share your story. For me, that helped me, and I had to do what I had to do for me, to make sure generations behind me in my family and people that I know and don't know don't have to continue and repeat cycles that are unnecessary because people want to be silent, or keep family secrets secret, or just a variety of things. Like I don't subscribe to that. I always think of myself like, if I was in Harriet Tubman's generation, would I be Harriet, or would I be on the side of her like, let's go, we gotta go, we got things to do, or other things. But I just feel like I was born at the time that I needed to make sure that things that need to be done are done right now and the way that they need to be done. So I've always been like a fighter. I've always, not fighter physically, but like more of like the grit of things, more of advocating for people, speaking up when things aren't right, regardless if it's popular or not. So I just feel like that part of me has always brought me to where I am right now. But it took sacrifice, it took courage, it took leaving some people where they were, and just knowing what's right at the end of the day has to be done.
Woo!
Beautiful.
I'm gonna have a bell here next. I'm gonna get a whole lot of little gadgets. Y'all leave me alone. I don't drink or smoke. I'm going through gadgets. So, Miss Sounds, before we end, any reflection that you can share? Because I know you got something. After having this conversation with this powerful woman, that we got to get a different word more than powerful. It's not enough. We need something stronger. Y'all send put a powerful word bigger than powerful in the comments. Because my God, we learned a lot today. We thought we knew her.
You think
And we
you know, but you
do.
have no idea.
But we
Not,
gonna run
not one idea.
Nope. But she comes with a lot more. So, Miss Sounds, what is your reflection from having this conversation before I close out the broadcast?
So after having this conversation, I think what has radiated more than anything is the amount of resilience you have. That you that have gone through hard things, that the pressure, you'll look back and realize the pressure was necessary, although not preferred, and no one wants to raise their hand and choose it. You were tagged in for a reason, and your resilience is your superpower. So I say that to you, Josayne, and I say that to everyone else that has a similar story like you as well.
Yeah, I love that. We did talk a little bit about superpowers before. And when we mean that, we're really talking about the best self part of you that is there, that just needs to be activated for you to go forward. Because I know we always look to find influence outside of ourselves, but sometimes we are the influence that we need once we have become healthy. So that's what we mean about the superpower. My reflection here, this conversation with Miss Sounds and Josayne, is that we must continue to support those that we see, as Josayne says, that are heads down. Let me tell you, their work is covering a lot more than the territory that they dwell in. And we just need to celebrate those people. I don't care if they clean your church, heads down, show up on time every day, same time, doing the same task over and over. You don't want to do, that's a heads down, that's an unsung hero. You don't want to sit in that church with trash around you. Be real. And from just talking to Josayne and all the things that she's doing, for me, the reflection is to remember to celebrate those that are heads down, those that are busy, those that are consistent, those that are doing the tasks that I don't have to show up to do. Say hello, say hi, tell them thank you, and lend a hand when you can. We are hoping that you've enjoyed this conversation today. We talked to our teens, but we're also talking to adults, because relationship doesn't care if you're a teen or not. It's a human thing. So prevention is much better than having to do a whole lot of work to get rid of triggers. But if you have triggers, know that there are foundations and resources out there to help you. We want you all to stay inspired, stay encouraged. You can do this. I know you're going to feel like some days you can't. I got it. I understand. And we will validate that. But the minute a ray of hope comes in, grab it. Grab it and do what you can with that. Listen, Raise Voices, we love you. We will continue to have these lives where we can have conversation. We need you to comment, subscribe, share everything that we're putting out there. We're working hard. We want it to be quality more than quantity. We're very careful with that. So we're bringing the right people that are here talking with us. Josayne, we love you. We thank you. You got to come back. See, I put a public invitation there. See that? That's how you, okay, was that manipulation, people? I don't know. Okay. Yes, we had to end on a joke. We love y'all. We just saying we love you guys. We love what you're doing over there. Please tell your team we said nothing but love for you, baby. Nothing but love for you, baby. Okay, because and everybody in the building over there, family service, everybody doing everything, victim support center. Just tell them we send nothing but love from Raised Voices. Listen, guys, future risers, do what you got to do because we need you in this world. Y'all have a great day. Bye now.
All right, bye.